Hi, everybody. This is Brenda Thompson, the host of Just Show Up, the podcast where we talk about everything real estate above and beyond. So today I have with me Scott Greenberg, and I am so excited to have you with us today, Scott. Welcome to Just Show Up.
Thanks, Brenda. I'm excited to be here.
So tell me a little bit about your journey in real estate. Is this your first career?
No. So, this is a journey I never expected. Got out of college and went into the Air Force.
Thank you.
And thank you. I loved it. Wish I could have stayed. I was an engineer in the Air Force. And at the time, I was thinking of getting out. And that's because they were making random cuts. As a non pilot in the Air Force, you're always subject to getting cut at any time. So my mother was selling real estate in Florida at the time and kept telling me, Scott, you'll do great in real estate. Why don't you come join me? You'd be wonderful. Well, at that time, I'm an engineer with an MBA and thinking, I can't sell anything. I sit at a desk and I'm a program manager. I just handle things all day.
I figure things out, though.
Well, I did not realize that that was part of the job description. So here I was thinking I couldn't sell anything. So finally, I get out of the Air Force. I had an opportunity come up in Dallas. And so I joined a small company. I was CFO of that company and thinking we were just going to take over the world. And that lasted about 18 months. So bounced around doing different entrepreneurial things at the time and found myself flipping homes. And we were flipping so many homes that it made sense to get my real estate license and
Uh-huh.
got it at a very good time. That was right in 2000. There were not nearly as many realtors as there are now. And it just took off from there.
Good. So, but your mother was in Florida. Did you ever work with her during that,
No,
or did you come
no,
straight to
never did.
Texas? Okay.
Never did. So I didn't love Florida. I love Dallas. Actually, I grew up in St. Louis, and the thing that I love about Dallas is it's got a Midwestern vibe with a lot more going on. And so I love the friendliness, I love the people, but I also love the opportunities. So no, couldn't see myself going to Florida.
Uh-huh.
So did get licensed in Texas, and my mother at that time was about to retire. So she retired from real estate. I really, again, didn't want to move to Florida.
Okay.
So yeah, things just took off. Of course, when things took off, mom loved to say, I told you so.
Of course.
Right, of course. But yeah, so things have been great really ever since. At one point, I thought about leaving real estate to get my weekends back. And I joined a friend who was starting a new company and said, okay, I'll commit to 3 months. 3 months, I'll keep my real estate business going and see how things go with this company. And after 1 month, I was ready to go back to real estate. I didn't realize that all the things that I was giving up in my personal life on the weekends, I was really making up for during the week. So I had so much free time during the week that it really made up for it. And I immediately said, no, I cannot go back to a corporate job. And so here we are.
It's funny because for agents who first get their license and maybe are coming from a corporate job, I often have to kind of coach them through that learning process of it's okay if you're running your personal errands at 10 o'clock on a Tuesday morning because you will be working some evenings, you will be working most of your weekends.
Well, that and I found out it's much more fun to play golf during the week than it is on the weekends. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
my days off were so much easier during the week.
And so with that, talk about that too, because that is something that we have to learn in this career that you do still have to take some time off. And it may not look like the same time off as some of your friends, but you have to
Definitely.
give that time to yourself.
And I think that was a little of why I was trying to get my weekends back because I was really getting burned out and I didn't realize that the time that I was taking during the week, which wasn't enough, was the only time I was going to get. And so, yes, if you don't put yourself, well, you have to create your days. So essentially be confident enough that you can answer your phone, you can handle your business on your days off because you have to. People don't wait for you. But you definitely have to plan a golf day or a outing with friends or lunches with friends, or just take advantage of that time because especially when you're getting started, I mean, you want to jump in and do everything you can, and we're going to get to showing up here in a few minutes, I'm sure. But you just have to be there. You have to be available, and it's important to try and work that work life balance to where you get enough time with your kids and hopefully you have the evenings with them and you might have one weekend day. You may not have both weekend days, but at least you can plan things around that if you
Mhm.
just plan it in advance.
It's important to show up for yourself as much as showing up for your business.
It is, yes, very much so.
And you and I have both been in this business long enough that we remember the days before the technology existed that we all are fortunate to have now, like cell phones that do all the things that they do today, where
Right.
it does make it a little easier on your day off now to still answer a call. You can send an email. There's so much that we can do from our phones and still remain engaged where we need to be engaged and yet take that time for ourselves too.
You mean you don't miss the days of pagers and having to pull over on the side of the road and find a payphone?
Or Maps goes, or the separate, key box super
Yes,
door opener. Yes, all the
yes.
things we were juggling all the time. Yes.
Right. Or that America Online sound as you were logging in through your modem.
That's what nightmares are made of.
Yeah.
And so touch us a little bit about what your journey has been more recently too.
So, more recently, so one of the things that I did very early on and how I really built up to where I am today is, of course, by being available quite a bit, but really by learn all that I can. Go to your inspections, go to other people's inspections. If you don't feel confident with a buyer, pair up with somebody. Just continue to learn from other people. The other thing you have to do is you have to do education. You have to really learn your trade. And by setting those in motion and very early in my career, nowadays it makes things a whole lot easier.
Mhm.
My business is 95% by referral, probably even a little more than that these days. And the way that you get referrals, or the way I get referrals, may not be quite like everybody else does. My theory is you do a great job with people during the transaction. You let them know you're the expert, but you're going to help them through it, take away their fears, predict what their fears are going to be before you get in situations. And if they really value that process, with which most of my clients have, then they're going to come back to you. What I'm not good at is to follow up after the sale. I'm just not good at that. And I tell people that up front. I said, "Hey, I'm not gonna be calling you all the time, and I'm not gonna be saying, 'Hey, how are your kids?' I'm talking to you now, I love your kids, they're great, but I'm not gonna be doing that." So, hopefully, you're going to remember me when it's time to sell or when you have a friend that's ready to sell. And there are other things that I do to keep my name in front of them, but I really felt like setting up that foundation has set me to where I am today, where I don't work as hard. I take a couple days off a week now rather than maybe a half a day a week. And what I really had to convince myself of is, you know what? If somebody wants to work with me and they're calling me or they're emailing me, as long as I get back to them within a reasonable time frame, which might be an hour, it might be 5 hours, might
Mhm.
be next day if it's an email. But if they can't respect that, then I probably don't want to work with them. And getting to that point was really hard, but it sure makes your journey easier when you are at that.
It does, and I find and I'm sure you did it, I did it early on, I wanted to be readily available to everyone,
Right.
and that was part of what I felt like was a great commitment to them, and then at some point you realize, but when your business gets bigger and bigger and you have more people who are coming to you for help, it's harder to do that, and you still have to be able to you're better for them if you can take care of them as they come.
Very true, and a lot of times a client will be with me and my phone rings and they say, "Aren't you gonna answer that?" I'm like, "No, I don't need to answer that. Our time together is important,
Mhm,
and so I'm gonna remain totally focused on you, and you're right. The other
mhm,
people will wait,
mhm.
but they know that you'll get back to them.
And then conversely, I like to tell people too, I'm expecting this one call, so I may have to, take a break to go take that call. And usually that's going to be something personal that I'm having to deal with because business, I usually put it to the side. Even my agents, know that I will get back to them quickly, but if someone is in front of me, I may not always be able to answer every single call in the moment.
Right. Very true.
So, is there a funny or most memorable or maybe a horror story along the way that you've encountered?
Well, probably the worst deals and the most horrible, the scariest that are now funny are foreclosure deals back when we had a lot of foreclosures. One thing that, because I was experienced in flipping homes and knowing different financing options and what banks will help you with and what banks won't help you with, just through that process, some of the most frustrating and weirdest things happen with foreclosures. If you're the listing agent on a foreclosure, you never know who's going to show up. If you're a buyer's agent, you never know what you're walking into. I walked into a couple of homes that had scary messages like whoever walks into this room is forever cursed. And you just like, okay, that's weird, but it's kind of freaky. So I don't think I want to be in this house. From walking in and finding human feces on the floor, which
I've done
is
that. Mhm. Mhm.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
But probably my biggest challenge was a woman that I was trying to help from being foreclosed on and a hoarder. I walked into her house and there were literally paths set up with magazines and newspapers stacked
So,
above.
like the ones we see on TV.
And it was unbelievable because it was, I think, when that show Hoarders first started coming out. So
Mhm.
in watching the show, I'm like, "Oh my god, that's her."
Mhm.
And so it's not funny at the time now even because she wouldn't let me help her. And I was ready to buy her house, or I had investors that were ready to buy her house. And she kept saying, no, I signed up with somebody else and they're going to help me. And what a lot of homeowners don't realize is the people they sign up to help them are really just interested in profiting themselves. And
Mhm.
so it ended up she got foreclosed on because the person that she thought was going to help couldn't help. And so that was the funniest, saddest, and continues to be sad because who knows what this, well, she's she was older, so she's probably not around anymore. But it's just, again, you never know what you're walking into or where your experience may take you.
And that is funny too, because over the years, we have more and more of those stories. And it's been a while since we've been in a strong foreclosure market. It doesn't mean that it won't come back around at some point. Everything's cyclical, it kind of comes back around. But at the moment, we haven't done many of those.
And it's
Great
so
stories come out
interesting
of
that
that is too.
right, that agents that haven't been licensed, well, I mean, really, the last time we dealt with that was 2012, and so if
So
you're
we're now at
licensed.
13 years later, so give or
Exactly.
take. And
So, there's so much that the newer agents haven't experienced, but they will,
mhm.
and so, again, it's good to keep up that education, so when the situation arises, at least you have some clue about what they're talking about.
Or hopefully have someone you can call on to say, okay, hey, this is new for me.
Right, very true.
How do we get through it? So, is there anything that you feel like then or now that you were missing that could have helped you get to another level before, or maybe today that you're looking for to get to another level? And
So
that doesn't even have to be a level up, just like a different level focus of your business.
probably the thing that kept me out of real estate sooner is the thing that hindered me most of my career, and that was fear of dealing with people. I mean, I was an engineer, I sat behind a desk. I would go to meetings, but I was in charge of that meeting. There was no doubt who was in charge. I didn't have to prove my credibility. So that is still where, well, like I told you, my weakness and the one area that I don't feel I'm strong in is the follow up after the sale. And if I would have got out and networked more and all of that in the very beginning, which I didn't have to do, there was plenty of business out there without as many realtors. But that was probably one thing that held me back a little bit, especially in the very beginning, was that the sphere that I was trying to deal with was not that wide. And what I did is I just built my resume, and back then, people could look at real estate resumes on Zillow. So if you were showing all these awards that you had won, you would get picked as an agent on Zillow. It wasn't the process they use now, where I think whoever pays the most gets them. But yeah, that really helped me a lot in the very beginning. But if I would have had the other piece where I really was confident interacting with other people more and getting out and networking and getting over my fear of wanting to talk to people. It's funny because I my wife and I are very different. And we'll go out and we'll sit in the bar and she'll have 10 friends immediately while I'm just sitting there by myself, which is okay. We know
It's
that about
okay.
each other. But again, that kind of held me back, I think, in the very beginning. Although, again, I was in the right place at the right time and things took off, built that resume quickly. So yeah, that's still something that I deal with. I was just asked to join a huge networking group. And I don't really know that I want to do that. I don't have to do that now like I did before, but if I just had a little more in me that wanted to get over that hurdle, I mean, I would probably get a significant amount of business from it.
Mhm, mhm.
It's the groups that I am in, which are groups that are activity based for the most
Okay.
part.
Uh-huh.
I get a ton of referrals from them.
Because they get the opportunity to get to know
Exactly,
you
because they
and
get
like
to know me as a person, they get to know my level of expertise, and it's all in a very informal environment where I don't feel like I have to sell myself. It's just get out there, be natural, and the people that are gonna work with you are the people that like you and trust you.
and those are the people who call you again too. They call you for the
Exactly,
repeat business too. It's
exactly.
interesting because, as I've come across engineers as potential clients before, the one thing that I've noticed is that engineers generally like data. So, when you're going out for a listing presentation, I've always had the quick and simple listing presentation that is pretty much like, "Hi, I'm Brenda. I'm here to sell your house," all the way to, and here's all the data. And not everyone likes to even look at this, but you can
Right,
tell the people who grab that and like to look at it are glad that you were prepared with it and that
right,
you can speak to that. And for you, you are coming in at a time and focusing on that business, that investor level business where the data is so important. So I'm sure
right,
you were analyzing the data like crazy and
right.
made you an expert in that field right there.
Exactly, and in fact, when I go to a listing presentation, no matter who I'm going to see, I have all that with me because 9 times out of 10, I am going over the data. But you're right, as you're going through it and the first time you bring that sheet out that starts going through the data and their eyes roll back in their head, that's when you know, "Hey, it's time to be quiet."
When they glaze over a bit.
Right, I've already sold them on me.
Yes.
I just have to give them a list price, and most times I'll ask straight out, I'm like, "Okay, you want me to just skip to the meat right here?" And they're like, "Yes, tell me what you think you can sell my house for." "Okay,
Uh-huh.
very good." And I'm there.
That's awesome. In your career, whether it be now or in the past or even looking forward, what's one thing would you say you always have to have, you always have to just show up for? What's your one thing, personal or business, that pulls in toward business that you always have to show up for?
It's really and this is something that I feel is very important to anybody who works remotely, anything like that, but it is show up. It's go to work every day. And I know some people, some realtors, some are successful, some are borderline successful, that they start their day, they goof off, they do all these things, they're going to the grocery store first thing. I can't do that. For me, I get up, I work out, which I feel is very important. Then it's get ready and go to work, whether it's going to my home office or back when I started, it was going to the office every day because there's a synergy in that office and you learn from others. One of the funniest things, and I just helped this guy rent a couple of his investment properties. But when I first started, there was this old agent, this old curmudgeon guy, and he had been in the
We all know a
business.
few of those.
Right, probably 20 years at that point, and he just used to love to yell at his clients. If they made him mad, he was gonna start yelling. I'm like, "How does this guy do any business?" but it was just so funny to hear. But every once in a while, I get a good tidbit from him because I'd be, "Hey, Mike, why did you start yelling at that guy?" "Well, he wants to do this in the contract and we can't do that. And he's mad at me about it." I'm like, "Okay, I just learned something." So I've always been of the feeling you show up to work. Like I mentioned in the very beginning, you go to your inspections. It's just make yourself the expert that your clients can count on. And
Uh-huh.
I know agents that don't go to their inspections, and I don't know how they can do that because
And
how do you
we learn
negotiate
so much
repairs? Right.
from those
When you
inspections.
don't understand, or the other agent says to you, "Well, hey, Scott, where was this hole in the wall?" "Well, it was right here. I know. I saw it. I was there at the inspection. I don't have to call the inspector or call the buyer." And it's just, you gotta be there. You gotta learn. And that just makes you more knowledgeable to be able to help your client. I've had negotiations on repairs with agents that had no idea what the repair was. They say, "Hey, oh, the inspector called this out. It has to be done." It
Uh-huh.
doesn't have to be done,
Mhm.
but you didn't know what it was, so you just made yourself sound like a fool.
Because you made a big deal out of something that really isn't that big of a deal.
Exactly, exactly. So I always, and in fact, when my wife started working with me years ago, which she doesn't anymore, but when she did, that was a big thing with me. It's get up, go to work. And if that's what you know you have to do, just like you're doing a 9 to 5 job, then that's what you have to do
Mhm.
until you can handle a good amount of business without doing that. But I still do it. I mean, every morning, the first place I'm coming after I work out is my home office, and I'm going
Uh-huh.
to handle the things I have to handle for the day. And that sets me up for the rest of the day. I mean, I'm going to get thrown curveballs, definitely, but at least I took care of the things that I had to take care of first. Now I'm free to do whatever comes up during the rest of the day.
That's actually something that happens in our business a lot too, that I don't think people always understand either. We are thrown curveballs all day long, every day. And get, just like you said, getting some of those priority things out of the way. But things will happen throughout the day that are curveballs that it is your business to go take care of.
Right.
And you can't always plan for those things.
No, you can. In fact, one happened to me today, as we discussed before we got on this, and I had to go move a refrigerator and washer and dryer from a home because the seller left town and didn't have anybody else that could do it. I reached out to a couple of my handymen and they couldn't get to it. So I went and got the truck, and my son and I got it done today. So you got to do what you got to do.
You do, and yet I don't recall anywhere on our list of job description duties, there's a
No,
checkbox for move
no,
refrigerator, washer, and dryer.
not at
I don't
all. And
recall that.
and certainly when I talked to the client in the very beginning in the listing appointment, I did not say that I would take that refrigerator and washer and dryer out for you.
I didn't offer it up, I didn't agree
No,
to it,
not
I
at
wasn't
all.
asked to do it,
Believe
but
me, I
yet you
didn't
did it.
want to.
But those are the things that we do, and I'm like you, I would try to reach out to someone to help. I'm probably not the best at moving washer and dryer and refrigerator.
Right.
I'm sure there's someone who's much more expert at that than me. Sometimes you do what you have to do.
Exactly. Yes. And in the end, hopefully your client really appreciates it. I know the other realtor did and the buyer did, but I just still haven't told the client that I had to do it myself. They moved out of the area, but you know what? They still know a lot of their neighbors. They lived in that home for 37 years. So,
I've gotten really good over the years at just pointing something out like that when they say, "Oh my gosh, what thank you so much. What can I do?" You owe me a couple of referrals. That's it. We're
exactly.
we're good if you send me a couple
Yes.
of referrals.
Yes. Exactly. Yes. It's the least they can do.
Exactly. It's been great talking to you today. Is there anything you want to leave our viewers with as far as like next steps for Scott or advice you would give to new agents that are newer in our business?
So, my next step is possibly learning how to relax a little more. I am trying to take one golf day per week.
Good.
So, working on my golf game. I've also become a TV host. So, I do a show called American Dream TV where I'm a local host. And there's probably 20 other agents in the market that do that too. But that's something fun. And who knows where that'll lead. But
Have you been doing that? I've known a couple of people over the past few years who've
so
done that.
I just hit 1 year with them. So I've
Okay.
done 6 shows so far. My 7th show, I think, will be airing in maybe 2 weeks or so,
Okay.
but I really enjoy it. I really enjoy it. It allows me what I do with it is I go out and I meet with business owners and highlight their business and just try and help them, and maybe they can help me, but it's just fun getting out and interacting with people, something that I never thought I would enjoy doing before, but I'm turning the corner a little bit, and it's just fun. It's just fun. So, again, trying to have a little more fun. I've
Mhm.
reached the point in my career where I don't have to beat the bushes 24/7. It's the business comes to me a little bit more, and so there's that treat to my dog. And so it's trying to relax and have fun a little bit more, but it's all because of the work that I put in up front.
That's great.
Yes.
Then you should reward yourself with a little more of that fun.
Yes, exactly.
That's actually a little bit about why I do this podcast is, I feel like I talk to people all day, every day, and I am pouring into my agents all the time. And yet, I love the opportunity to showcase agents who are doing what they love
Right.
and enjoy helping people. And this gives our viewers, those future buyers and sellers, in addition to agents, the opportunity to kind of see what this business can bring and
Right.
how we do enjoy helping our clients.
Yes. Yes, very much so. Very much so. And if I can help a new start business too, it's all the better.
It is. I agree. I
Yes.
agree. Well, thank you so much for being on with us today, Scott.
Well, that sounds great, Brenda. Thanks for having me, and it's been a pleasure.
This episode has been sponsored by HomeSmart Stars. Agents, do you feel unseen, unheard? Maybe wish you had better commission. Maybe wish that you were welcomed and encouraged to show up, to just show up as you are and be your true, authentic self, and have all the training and support and tools to help you thrive in your real estate career. If so, then you need to reach out to HomeSmart Stars and make HomeSmart Stars your home for real estate.